the Steamy World, the Barbarella Show with your hosts, Ravijojla and Anutu.
Hello, and welcome to the live streaming Barbarella Show on Steemit Ramble Radio. Today with Ravijojla and my guest co-host, Crazy. Hello, Crazy.
Hello, everybody.
It's a particular pleasure to have our awesome audience tonight us, along with a huge technical support by Ed Penderis and the Kitty Girl. Hello, and I see Audrey Biz. Let me guys introduce you shortly to the topics of the show today. We will start as usual with our steamy trends, talking about once more about how important it is to vote, especially in these maybe final, maybe not so final hours, to get Steam on fixed and firmly based, cemented on the top of the cryptocurrency list. And I have also prepared two links for you, which you could find in the voice chat text. They were brought to me on a DM by Ed Steve, who asked me kindly to drop a couple of words on importance of your vote. So next we will clarify a little bit Collegius Initiative, Review Me, and of course another great action and campaign he started, and we hope we will soon see finalized, which is the Steam Flea Market. So let's begin with Steam to the Moon. We discussed it in the so-called front foyer before starting this show lettering, and there was Shadow Pub who kindly informed us on the recent results. Crazy, have you voted today?
I did vote yes. I voted twice, and then I saw that I might not be able to do that.
Well, I voted 3 times using my office email address also, and then flash, there was this like wet mop on my face. Uh, the DM that Pensive informed me with about how they will swipe votes that are coming from the same IP. And believe me, I'm so technically illiterate that I wouldn't know how to manipulate technique and voting at all. So I was a little bit worried for the first 15 minutes, but then I saw the figures and I'm quite alright. I don't know that we are a very organized community and we'll get cemented up there.
Well, it looks like Verge kind of on the verge of slipping, but I don't want to speak too soon because we're steaming ahead. Pardon the puns.
I don't know what type of figure we fancy, that at which level we may say that we are fixed and we are safe. So I'm so excited, and I just want to share with you guys that I was so unprepared for that matter at the first place. I was so impressed of how many cryptocurrencies we have. There's so many. And I thought it's Steam and a couple of them. Phew!
Yeah, there is an amazing amount of crypto out there. And given all that crypto, it is so good to see where we are at the moment, which is great. I just hope that we can keep that going and reach that number 1 spot for the close of the contest.
Yeah, that would be great. So, whilst everybody knows what they are about to do, and this is very easy, just visit the site, find the list, find Steemit, which will actually blink in your eyes. Enter your email address, vote. and then apparently you may wait a couple of seconds and see what time you may go for a second turn, and so on and so on. Right, so while it's cleared enough, let's move to the review me. Review me impressed me a couple of days ago, but it was today that I have created my own review me profile, and I really did love it. And I saw some and read also some good remarks, and I do highly appreciate them. Uh, and also it was very interesting to listen to Felijo explaining on the possibilities, the wide possibilities such kind of an initiative opens for future ideas and upgrading. And maybe I will here be free to thank you, Crazy, for your 5 stars rating me, but it is actually me who have to thank you, because you brought me to the Steam network.
It was my pleasure. Honestly, it's absolutely fine. You deserved every single one of them.
Oh, my bow here. So, if you haven't made your review me profile so far, but you find this very enticing, interesting for you, please do so, so that you will be able also to comment and rate other fellows on Steemit, which is, as we know, very important. Show some support, show a lot of love, which is like a Steemit credo these days. No, from the very beginning, I'm like, not these days. Review me is an awesome place, and we all will be happy to follow the developments to see what else, what new will appear on this wonderful, like a business card for me, looks like one. And yes, it would be nice to get closer and know better each other, don't you think so?
Well, given the fact of what we were talking about earlier with the likes of LinkedIn and everything, and this is a really good way of being able to not only produce a business card, but to show all the social media and everything that you're aware from. So it'd be great to see this expand around into that social media and people use that as well. And seeing if we'll meet even more new people than just on Steemit.
Yes, very true, very true. You know what I encounter very often when I'm talking or discussing Steemit with other people who are not very well introduced to the platform. And at the very beginning, the first couple of sentences I would drop usually, uh, they would just wave in the air with the palm of the hand, start to talk about multi-level marketing or pyramids and blah blah blah. But there are some significant key points that definitely distinguish Steemit from all kind of multi-level marketing networks and the pyramid structures. So, review me is one way to show this in a resume briefly, without talking too much to people, of course. I lately see how people get bored very quickly. Like it is too much information, guys. Lately, it is bombing information from all sides, and with once we were trying to capture to get attention in the first 5 minutes. Now it is the battle is even more aggressive to get attention in the first 1 minute or less than a minute. So review me does this in the part of a second, in a millisecond of it. So that is why Barbarella, Crazy Baggy Adventure, and Raviola plus Anutu who is in the shade. We really warmly recommend review me to you. Our guest Kalijo earlier today was very kind to introduce for maybe fifth time this week his awesome, absolutely amazing and well accepted idea about the Steam flea market. And maybe here Crazy will tell you why we find it so adorable, why this is a great option for us.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting because he couldn't share the full ins and outs of it, so we didn't even know the proper name. But what I can tell you is that he did. We were the first to get the actual screenshots of what the platform was going to look like, and he told us some things like, for instance, that it wasn't just going to be for those that are on Steam, but for those that are not on Steam either. So, for instance, you could sell goods and receive fiat. So it didn't necessarily need to be crypto. There was going to be a market where it was going to be able to take all major credit and debit cards. We talked about the potential it had, so that it could really tap into the bigger markets like India and Asia, and what they the benefits they would see out of it. Penderis, thanks very much, Penderis. He's just shared the screenshot that was so kindly shared by c0ff33a earlier on. So there's a lot of information that was given, and if you're going to Steam Fest in November in Krakow in Poland, be prepared that you're going to be very, very lucky, because you're going to get a whole wealth of this information presented to you. So apparently, I don't know if Deranged Visions is going to be there in a t-shirt, I heard, and they're going to be giving some things out. So it's something else that you need to be keeping an eye. Yes, he is. Dream Steams just said that you need to be keeping an eye out for. So it's very, very exciting stuff. And, I think what they told us hasn't even skimmed the surface, and it's going to be a whole lot bigger.
Yeah, great. And we also were asked a couple of times for those of you who are attending Kazakh Great Festival, do feel free to approach Deranged Visions, who has a similar beard as our Kufia, to ask him about anything you may be interested in. So really, really good news on the horizon. Very lovely to have a guest like that. Khalid is doing a lot for the community, and thank you, Pen, for dropping the link to his profile so everybody could get more information about this outstanding person. So it's just about the time to get to the bus stop and pick up our author of the week, who appears to be an outstanding artist, new face on the community, at least to me, and I do assure you I roam a lot around Steemit, collecting jewels, content, authors. And this young lady, whose name is Dunya Jung, uses ink and watercolor, quite an accidental occasion for me, because I was recently I found the art of another appealing to me artist from Australia, Louis Rover, who is using recycled paper and newspapers, makes some ink drops on it, and then starts to write. To draw. You may have seen some of his works in my posts published here and there. Dunya Jung is doing something absolutely outstanding without copying Hover Master. And what we saw from her this week is absolutely awesome rewarded for the watercolor portrait and the watercolor fishes. And I'm so sorry that out of some reason she's not using Discord. Otherwise, she assured me that she would be glad to join our lovely company at Barbarella show. No matter, of course, we have the recording, and our beautiful lady will be able to see, hear, and assure herself of how we have presented her art. And my request is, please, guys, visit her blog and drop some nice comments, supporting, like cheering up lines. You know how to do that because you are awesome at that. This is an artist worth supporting. For me, she's a masterpiece herself, and I hope that you would like her and her work a lot. Barbarella says love. Yeah.
Love.
Hello, hello. Panpop just Barbarella says love. Funny. Mom called me the other day asking me what I would like to have for the remember the 5th of November. No, let me make it as closer to the original. Remember the 5th of November. Can't make this accent like the Brits. Anyway, so Mom was inquiring about birthday presents. I didn't know what to ask. I wish I was a child. Ah, yes. The 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day. And I said that I would love to have peace and love among people in the world, and she laughed a lot, but I meant it. I really do. And now Barbarella loves a lot of things. Okay, so Crazy. Do you think that Guy Fawkes was a manipulator?
Yes.
Had he molded people's opinion massively?
He it's really funny because we were talking about this the other day, and he at the time molded a collective of people into his way of thinking about the way that the government were acting, and saw fit to go and try and blow up the Houses of Parliament. No, it's not just a movie. It's real.
It's the Cromwell part of this history.
Guy Fawkes, he's so basically, for those that don't know, he was a man who attempted to blow up the Houses of Parliament, and he was unsuccessful because he was caught.
And gunpowder plot.
Yeah, it was the gunpowder plot, and he got caught for it. And as a result of it, we celebrate on the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Night. So what happens is, in England, what they do is they make an effigy of Guy Fawkes. So normally they'll use stuffed clothes and stuff it with paper and stuff. And the kids go around to the people's houses and ask for a penny for the guy. Although they used to do this, like, on the day. Now they tend to come like 6 months before and ask penny for the guy. Never works. And then what happens on the night is we have a big fire, a big bonfire and fireworks. And it's all around the celebration of the capture of Guy Fawkes, and they burn the effigy on the fire of the guy. And yeah, an effigy, that's what they call it, the effigy. And and that's Guy Fawkes Night. That's when we have fireworks on 2 nights. So we have Guy Fawkes Night on the 5th of November and on New Year's Eve.
Yes, very interesting indeed. 5th of November is Brian Adams' birthday. For those of you, maybe Shadows will be acquainted to this person. Brian Adams is a great musician. So 5th of November is worth remembering. But back to manipulations. Earlier this week, we sat with Crazy to have a cup of warm drinks. We enjoyed the lovely October weather and falling leaves in our town. But there were dark clouds over especially my head. Because I appear to be somewhat sensitive and perceptive on everything I see, I hear, and I read. And I did a lot of reviews the past several days. Got a lot of impressions, not all of them so wonderful and bright as I would like to see it, but anyway, life is the way it is. And it was actually my wise grandma who once told me, you have to accept that there will be very bad people on your way. And there is a reason why you are going to meet bad people too. This is how you will know what you are not supposed to do in life. So maybe this is the measure we are going to use in our reviews too. But why manipulations? As it appears to me that it is very flat. Flat like nothing that I would be very impressed to buy or like, but it was so aggressively punched into my face twice, 3 times, and more and more and more that I had to just stop it and block it. And what I felt is like somebody is trying to cheat me with one product and a second one that doesn't have very much in common with the first one, and these two products were glued together, and then an idea was created that this is an exceptionally good quality third product, gift wrapped with ribbon and a smile. And all of a sudden I said, wait, it's not like that. It's not like that. You can't make a sword of a rusty knife. A rusty knife is always a rusty knife, and you can't sell a rusty knife for a sword. And this is why I made my brain is like that. My brain is a very bad friend to me, who makes an after party and makes a tale of the story. So I was thinking over that a lot of days and a lot of hours at all. What is making people do this? And I may equally be not very right, but I think that it is the source of this is somewhere in our hearts. Somewhere there is an incentive, that a driver, something that makes you to do so, and it is the result that comes later. But at the very beginning, it is this incentive that makes your intention creative or manipulative. And I, maybe wrongly or not, concluded that it is always good to ask ourselves, guys, what are our incentives when we pass messages to the other people? Goals are okay, we usually do that vice versa calculation before getting to our goals. But what are our incentives? What is the driver, positive or negative? For me, it appears to be very important to distinguish incentives, because I accepted a role that I have assigned to me, to find and support good quality and positive minded creators. That positive frame is very important for me on Steemit, and that's why I think that distinguishes the distinguishing line is very important to cut content. Don't know about you. Maybe it is me who is very impressive, but that's the reason I wanted to drop so many words on manipulation today. And crazy speeches, of course. Because I was overwhelmed with some feelings the other day. But I guess in due course of time I'll be quite alright with just telling yes, no. Have you guys watched that movie? What was its name? It was a very funny comedy, a parody. Once upon in time, once upon in time. It started with the ancient times, then went through Roman times and the Bacchanalians, the Roman emperors made. So there was this year one. Yeah, year one. Yes, exactly, Witty. And there was this voluptuous as regarding men, ancient Roman lady who just, oh yeah, hello, Eagle, who made a selection of soldiers for her bacchanalias, and she was standing before the row saying yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no. So this is what maybe I'm going to also do. Say no to manipulation. Barbarella is absolutely convinced. Okay, so Crazy, if you would like to add something to that, I'll be glad to hear your thoughts and get prepared for our great guest today.
Yeah, I think you pretty much said what I was thinking. You know that manipulation to me in a nutshell is where somebody doesn't necessarily agree with what you say, and you either do something or tell it in a way to make them or sway them to your way of thinking or your way of action, whether it be for the right reasons or not. That's the way that I would see a manipulation, as opposed to the choice that somebody has of whether they choose to support it or not support it. So I completely echo what you say, and you know, there's if somebody tried to manipulate me into their way of thinking, I would by all means listen, but not necessarily agree unless I had a very strong stance. I think it's a really hard one to kind of nail as well. It's a really hard one to kind of nail, but it's let's have a look. The Hive said, yeah, I try to manipulate people to my way of thinking. When that fails, I just keep repeating the same thing to brainwash you. Well, yeah, you know, that's true.
Punch you in the nose.
I mean, thinking about it, actually, I think a real classic way of thinking of manipulation, or a good way of thinking about it, would be a cult. So a cult, I don't want to, there's one I can think of to me that I would class as a cult, but I'm not going to say it because it's legal and other people might actually be in it. But to me, a cult would be an excellent example of. No, I'm not making you a cult name now, John. Although if you want to be known as a cult, that's not a problem.
Now it's very good that the Hive has appeared in comments here because he had created and PYP'd this week a very good content. He spoke about opinions, and you should check this out, guys. It's very clever. It is very profound read, and I guess we all have to make a decision about this. My decision was, well, thank you for smoking in my face, Witty. My decision is to pretty way stay indifferent to all these things because I'm not used to giving explanation about what I would like to do. And if we are to keep the bon ton, I think we are not supposed to give explanations about our likes and dislikes. It's just the way it is. So if I am as polite to stay indifferent, I expect the other side to stay indifferent too. But, well, great expectations, as the classic writers have put it. Yeah, really, really huge topic, very, very deep one. But my message to you is just ask yourself before you pass a message, what do you want to do with it? Try to fancy what will be the building you will create with this message. Oh, such a lovely Barbarella multicolor.
It's very retro. It's
Very
like
retro.
really 50s. I love that.
Ooh, you're a very skillful kitty girl. I think I will steal that if it's possible.
It's fabulous. I love anything like that. I love like 50s retro. It's like even font and from font.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing, wonderful colors. So smooth, like not very aggressive. Uh, Lovely, stylish. Just like this film you have recommended to me, the Julie and Julia. Have you seen crazy how quite a deep gap is between these two generations?
Why we gone quiet?
Who is gone quiet?
Oh, it's okay. It must have been me. I think my voice is disconnected. All right. What we got in the next segment, Ravi?
Dropping some thoughts on the gap between generations, which I have spotted in the last night's film Julie and Julia.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched it, and the last 10 minutes at the end of the film, I cried also. Yeah,
Wow.
first of all, I realized that these are two very similar lifelines. Then I realized that the attitude of a woman in Julia Child's time is very, very different than the attitude we have today as women. And I felt quite sad, but not enough to cry. Then I listened to the music and I felt sad because we don't have such music anymore. You can't buy it anymore, anywhere. They just don't label it anymore. And then when it was over at that museum of theirs, I felt like everything's lost. Absolutely disgusting. We should bridge such gaps. I think that good content should be taken in, loaded into don't know what big bags or suitcases and brought forward to the future. You see how we are not very able to manage with relationships and responsibilities, and somehow our grandmas were okay with that. They were everywhere, doing everything, were very nice with their husbands, and never complained. And I had to do 2 meals, no, 3 meals for the New Year's Eve, and I was dropped dead tired. Uh, this is strange.
But you see, here's the thing I love about the movie. I love that a woman, because it's based on a true story, went out there, set up a blog, and she made a challenge that she was going to cook all the recipes in Julia Child's book, 570 something recipes in 365 days, to the point of where she did the blog, did the challenge, succeeded, And then they made a movie of it. I mean, isn't that like seriously, like when it comes to like potential of that we can go out there and do whatever we want to do if we just put our mind to it and do it. That's what I loved about it. Sorry, I'm eating gummy bears.
You're eating something, You can't talk, obviously you can't talk about food or cooks or chefs without having some food.
I love food. What can I say? I just love food.
Okay, Julia.
I really do.
Right, people got festive and felt like a party, having some party. Captain Dream was so kind to sing last time, and maybe this time she would like to twist and shout just to present our very recognized big fish guest. Let's open the door for Kafia.
Good evening.
Good evening, dear. How
Good
are you?
evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you for your consent to join us because I was really hoping that you do come and say a lot of why things today. So, how do you feel today? How are you?
I'm awake, which is good. That's always a good start for me at this time. But yeah, no, I've had a busy week, to be fair, and I've got to be honest, I've not done as many comments as I'd like to have done this week, but I'm trying to get there one way or the other.
Oh, it was a busy week for a lot of people. Indeed, October is, in my opinion, very inspiring month, and I await a very good harvest if I am to put my words more in more picturesque colors. Pardon. So, what I saw this week is almost every day pictured, photographed, or painted in words in numerous posts on Steemit. It seemed to me like this autumn is quite an inspiring season indeed, and I really expect an abundance of rewards and awarding effects of all the efforts put by the people I have screened. So, you also did a stunning post yourself. I saw it. It was about capturing beautiful sceneries in the place you are living, and I was particularly impressed by the street, and the final image was somewhat remastered or whatever you are doing, guys, with these photographs, but it was amazing. So, what what did you feel like? Why are what was the mood that made you, the incentive that made you create such content?
Okay, so I think you're talking about my Sublime Sunday post, which is a tag I accidentally created more than anything earlier in the year. I started that off. Really, I was just messing about with trying to do different things. Yes, Pendris, that's exactly correct. And I started off with the Sublime Sunday. Really, it all started with a time-lapse set of photos I took, which were based on taking time-lapses of the sky, which wouldn't be interesting, except I took time-lapses of the sky while I was driving using the roof of my car's like a normal windscreen. It's clear, so you can see through the roof of the car. So I took a time lapse of the sky through the roof of my car while I was driving. So you sort of saw the sky moving about and being a bit weird. And I started the whole thing off from that. I took a number of time lapses like that, did a post, randomly came up with Sublime Sunday. It all started from there, and kind of it snowballed from then back in, I don't know, it's probably maybe February and March this year. And now there's loads of people who join in and post using the same tag, and there's a number of posts every Sunday based on that sort of tag, and they're all actually really good. I enjoy working the whole week going through every post done by Sublime Sunday. It's a really nice tag, and there's some really creative and fun posts made with it.
Absolutely stunning. And thanks to Ben who spotted this so pretty effect on your street and the buildings, and it's wonderful. Creates an environment as if I am there, which is pretty much difficult to acquire. I think to achieve such an effect is a very special thing for me. So this is, guys, a good example of sending good messages to the community. So my impression of you, Kfir, is that you are of a very, very, very positive frame of mind. What was your mood today when you got up? What was your first thought today?
My first thought today, probably thank goodness it's Friday. Actually, it's been another long week, so yeah, I do try and stay positive, and I try and spread that out throughout the Steem blockchain as well. I know recently with everything we've had going on with the hard fork and the issues that kind of raised, that there's been a lot of negativity flowing about. But on the whole, it to me, it has helped and improved things. And although we still need to look at the resource credits and sort that out for the smallest accounts, I think there are ways to do it. And I believe Engine Witty shared something earlier on today, which I could do with hunting out, but I don't know if it's a witness or it's certainly a very high up whale who is doing some sort of promotion with delegations to very small accounts.
I see. So yeah, that's a good bridge to what I was going to say next. That according to what I have noticed already in your posts and your charity challenges, for me, you are widely recognized. If they ask me, I'll tell the people that you are very generous and active sponsor, and you're a witness too. And your posts are always with a very good positive mood in them, constantly building capacity with your help. You never get tired, at least in public, to encourage success and support community. And we know how this fork was exhausting for everybody. For you who worked on it and had to screen it, and for us who were impatient and had to wait. But back in the earlier days, what was the first thing you did after your introduce yourself post? If you have one. I haven't gone so backwards to your history on Steemit, but I hope you have one.
Okay, so yeah, if you can actually find my introduce me post, you're probably better than I am, because I'd struggle myself to get that far back. But yeah, I've got to be honest. I started on Steemit because of someone else on here called Old Guy Photos, Paul. I used to watch his YouTube videos, and in fact, he watched mine as well. And then one day, and this is going back in March 2017, he sort of said, because at that time YouTube was still monetizing videos, but the amount you were getting was tiny. It was marginal unless you had a big audience, which I still don't have a big audience on YouTube, to be fair. But he said, there's this new blockchain-based cryptocurrency website you can post on, and you can actually get decent rewards. And he tried to encourage me over. I kind of had a look. And, when you first look at Steemit, you look at it and you go, what the devil is this all about? I have no idea. And that's what I did. I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, I'll think about that. And I thought about it a bit, and I kept looking back and trying to progress. And I set off, and I was lucky at the time because I had him as someone who was already established on it to guide me with things like doing color challenge posts and photography posts and things. Still really wasn't what I was used to or any good at, but I decided I'd set off on my way. Initially, my introduction post was I was going to do about coffee because that's my thing, and maybe a bit of photography and a bit of videos and dash cam. And initially, honestly, I probably spent 10 weeks doing posts quite regularly and getting pretty much 0 in upvotes and no comments and nothing else. And I could not for the life of me fathom out what I was doing wrong compared to... And back at this time, there was no bid bots, so you weren't seeing people getting hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars in upvotes. But you saw people getting regularly $20, $30, $50. And I was looking at posts and looking at what I was doing, and I was thinking, why isn't it working? There's nothing terrible about what I'm doing. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And other people were doing a lot better than I was. And eventually, I kind of fathomed out the whole point that if you post something and just wait for people to appreciate it, they probably never are going to, because as soon as you post it, it disappears. It's gone. Even if they follow you, the chance that they're looking at their feed and when you post, they see it and can respond to it is pretty rare. So whatever happens when you create a post, it's going to disappear and be lost unless you do something to make yourself visible. So making yourself visible became, what can I do? And then it was all, well, if I comment on other people's work, then they're going to come back to me. So that's what I did. I started commenting on other people's work and trying to get myself seen. And slowly that developed from there to make me more visible, more seen. People came to me because I've been to their work. And in that way, I grew slowly and steadily.
Can I just ask a question? Just a general question on the back of what you've just said there, because I think this is a very, very valid point that you've just said. So for the people who are listening, who are thinking, oh, this might not work, or this is not working for me, based on what you've done, and let's just say not necessarily because you do YouTube videos as well. So let's say that anybody who wants to get a following, would you suggest that is the best way for people to do that, to go and seek out other people's content and get to know them in order to get people to come and look at your content? Would you say that's a good way, or would you have an alternate suggestion?
I'd say it's a good start, but I'm not going to say it's the be-all and end-all of fixing how to get a following and to get your posts seen and to get upvotes. To be honest, it's always going to be a lot of hard work. And the hard work starts with creating a post and what you post. And if you are able to create incredible content, and I believe Yidnif specifically comes to mind when you look at the posts that Yidnif does. She creates some incredible content, and sometimes it gets, really good recognition, and sometimes it doesn't get so much. And sometimes I look at what the work she's put in and how much she's done, and the recognition isn't as good as I'd expect it to be. And then also I see people, that spend hours and hours and days just commenting to get people to their blog. And, sometimes it just doesn't happen. You can comment as much as you like, and however much you try, that they don't come back. And that's really where communities come in, which is where now we're here because of the Welcome Wagon. And what they've developed, and also because of the Steemit Ramble and what Shadows Pub's developed through that. And then you see the likes of the Alliance by Enginewity, and then we've got all the other communities that you see around. That you've got Helpy as a community on their own, MSP, everything else. Communities are a big draw, because when you're seeing about and you're active in them and people get to know you, they remember you.
Yes, quite correct, and everything matters. Like, I am so familiar with the feeling you have described. The first 2 or 3 weeks, I felt like behind a glass wall, like an aquarium, like telling people, do you hear me? But silence. I say, people, do you hear me? Silence. And so on and so on and so on. And maybe on the 5th week, some weak voice appeared and said, I hear you, like, who the heck you are? So, yeah, sounds like a good strategy to use and implement all these components in your hard work, but it will always be, indeed, it will always be a hard work, and that's why I think creators, especially those good ones, do not deserve to be underpaid and undervalued. I am very thankful that you have also mentioned about support and followers, but it happens very often to me that people are asking, how am I supposed to find followers and people to support me? And confirmed by you today, it appeared that everybody had somebody to stand by him at the very beginning, or her. And little by little, here is the good company that backs you up, always stands by your side, and you see that your efforts are awarded because they stay. Even in the bad days when I do not create an exceptional content, not that I create very exceptional content, but there are some absolutely idiotic, freaky days that you just drop some rubbish in the air. But they are there. They keep cheering you up and support you. So this is why it is very important to go visit them, comment, go visit them, comment, publish, comment. It's very crucial and good to understand it at the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And on the back of that, it's amazing the people you meet. I just want to kind of carry on the back of all this that when I started to take Steemit a bit more seriously, and I was posting posts, and I remember, I think I saw one of Kathia's posts that he did on a Sunday, which honestly, it's like a morning read when you read Kathia's Sunday post, because You get up, you make coffee, and you sit and you read it, and then you've got the vlog and everything as well, and the pictures and everything that go with it. And I always remember reading it and thought, that's really, really good. And I reached out to him and not actually expecting anything in return. And from then on in the weeks, sometimes, from then on in the weeks, sometimes that I got one or two upvotes, but Coffea always, every single post that I did took the time to comment, and it wasn't just a one-liner, it was a really good in-depth comment, and it just encouraged me to do more and more and more. And, you know, if we had more people like Coffea doing that, especially for newbies, Steemit would be a different place in my book.
It would be ideal for me if plenty of people, and I'm not saying anyone here so much does it. I think we have a lot of big steam power holders, and you know, a lot of people who are well embedded in the Steem blockchain, but they really could do with pushing out there and encouraging more people. I mean, there are some whales that do that, and there are plenty of dolphins that do it as well. But you know, for me personally, I try my best to get about, but I'm trying now to get about far more people than I can possibly leave half decent comments to. So what do? I sort of like cut down on the comments or leave decent comments but hardly touch anyone, or and it becomes harder and harder for me to keep up the pace, as it were. So yes, certainly I'd like to see more engagement. And talking about engagement, of course, we think of something like the leagues that Asher ABH1234 does as a witness, and that sort of engagement thing, we see more people engaging, but the biggest problem for me still I see is a lot of the time the biggest engagement is between groups with the same levels of steam power. So the smallest steam power accounts are upvoting, engaging each other, but they're not really getting anywhere because they're not able to give that sort of level of upvote that is needed to help themselves progress. And at some point, because for a lot of the bigger steam power holders, it's obviously going to be a case of, I want to upvote and engage the same level of steam power as I have. Then everyone else who's smaller or growing or trying to grow gets kind of left in behind. And everyone, if you've got a few hundred steam power, for example, if you're all upvoting and commenting on each other, it's taking a long time. And you need bigger people, bigger accounts with bigger steam power to be coming along and pushing you forward and upvoting your content. And that's one thing I've been trying to do for a very long time now, is grow my own personal steam power and also share it out. It doesn't help me that greatly because obviously I'm supporting people who can't give back what I'm giving to them, but that's not my ideal of what's going on. What I'm trying to do is grow people, and the way I see it is, the more I encourage everyone that is growing, then the more I can build them up, and eventually, they'll probably remember me when I'm sort of old and grey, like I am now. And thank you very much, Pendris, for finding that. Look, I'm not grey then. That's awesome.
Well, I'm grey, but I am using artificial colors. I surprised the guys one day, and my hairdresser was booked, and a friend of mine said, "Oh gosh, I thought this was your hair. I said it's still mine, thanks God. No, no, I mean you have some silver strings in your hair. I said yes, I am an old person now. You should be respected as of a lady in her middle ages.
You're a baba.
No, I said I will be the city type of an aunt until I die. You know that aunties that uh, go around the town, drink coffee, gossip, and don't know, want to organize the engagement of their nephews. I don't know. So funny, funny. So Kofia, lovely. It was such a pleasure to hear so many good things from you today. And I was really, really curious to know because we have previously discussed it at the 3 p.m. Barbarella, what is your favorite song?
What is my favorite song?
Yeah, I know you mentioned that you like to listen to Queen, but your favorite song?
Oh, that's a tricky one, to be honest. I've got lots of favorite songs. I do like a lot of sort of like varied music. So I'm not into any particular genre, but if I'm gonna say favorite all time, actually, I do quite like a bit of Neil Diamond, to be honest, which is a bit of an odd one, I think, for a lot of people. But I'm going to say Neil Diamond, but I can't honestly remember which one without, if you give me a few minutes just to hunt down the track, because I think it's Sweet Caroline, actually. Is there Sweet Caroline?
Sweet
From
Yeah.
Neil Diamond? Yeah?
Neil Diamond, yes.
Brother Louis, no, modern talking. That was a surprise. Is this Sweet Caroline easy to tune or whistle melody?
Oh, I see you want me to whistle it.
I did
Yeah,
presume
that
so.
would be hard. Well, Pendris has got the song up, so that's good. Yes, actually, yes, something about Blood on the Rocks. You're right, Crazy Big Adventure, but I can't remember what the song title for that one is. But yeah, a lot of Neil Diamond songs. It's actually all my uncle's fault because he used to play Neil Diamond all the time when I was young, and it kind of when you hear songs so much, they get embedded in your head. And Neil Diamond was the one he did to me.
Oh, it's Love on the Rocks, not Blood on the Rocks.
Blood on the Rocks?
I always thought it was Blood on the Rocks. It's not, it's Love on the Rocks.
Yeah, okay. So, Kofia, let us hear your final words.
Oh, my final words. Okay.
Something like cheer up.
Chin up. Yes, exactly. So, no, I think my final word's going to be, the important thing is, as we've done here, this sort of community where we're all chatting together and interacting is the important part of the Steem blockchain and the platform, is getting to know people and building friendships, because for whatever you make of blogging for cryptocurrency, at the end of the day, for a lot of people, and I know a lot of people tell me this as well, making a blog post isn't so much about getting that monetary value reward. It's about learning and growing themselves and getting a sort of a response from people to say, I read your post, I liked it, and this is what I liked about it. And I think that's the important thing. Not everyone is out there just wanting to get an upvote. It's nice if you do and if you can, but just leaving a nice comment and saying, I liked the work you did. I spent the time to look at it, and I was impressed with it. That means a lot to people, and I think that's the thing you've got to work on moving forward, is appreciate people, find the posts and the people who are posting that you like, and give them the knowledge that you read their post and they enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because Captain was funny and said, if you condense that to one word, what would that would be? But don't worry,